Tommy, good evening.
How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. The weekend is here.
Closer
Coming
and
off a
closer to
day off
Christmas.
today.
Yeah,
I know we're about 12 days away from Christmas.
yeah, something like that. Seemed like the year's just gone by way too quick.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this is episode 48. Let's get the show started, why don't we?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening, everybody.
We're back. We're back with another one.
We are back
Episode
with
48.
another one. I know, 2 more episodes away from 50. Can you believe that?
Crazy, man.
And just think, we're about another 4 months away from our 1 year anniversary.
Man, that's crazy. Was kind of joined here, kind of towards the middle of the year, and we've just seen some growth since, and it's awesome, man. Glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, man, it's been a fun ride. By the way, our Twitter account is up to 520 followers.
Woo! Slowly but surely.
We are growing week by week, and we have, for those of you guys that are watching and listening, we have you guys to thank as always for sure.
Couldn't be here without you guys. Yeah, definitely. Putting up with me and Wayne talking about wrestling every week.
So we got a couple things to talk about today.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
year
it's
is
a good
wrapping
week.
up. The year is wrapping up, and we have some storylines. We have some things going on in the wrestling business that are heating up by the day as we start headed towards 2021.
Yeah, it's so weird to think like in years past we'd be around this time of the year and there really wouldn't be that much going on in the wrestling world. And it just seems like now we have the weight of the wrestling world is completely shifting. It seems like there's so much going on. There's so many talking points. I mean, you said it. There's storylines that are developing every single day. It's fun, man. It's just fun to be a wrestling fan right now.
If AEW keeps up with what's happening now, and the way all signs point towards 2001 being an awesome year with everything
Yeah.
that's going on. We see some crossover, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. We can talk about that first.
Sure.
We saw
Start
some
off with the bang.
crossover. Yeah, we saw some crossover too. So then on Impact, Kenny Omega headed onto Impact. The funny thing is, like, you don't see him in the Impact arena. That would have been pretty different. A nice visual to see him and
Yeah.
Don Callis in the ring. So how am I supposed to believe if that they were actually at Impact when it was pre-recorded, probably in their trailer?
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. During the episode of Impact, we see Kenny and Don Callis being interviewed by Josh Matthews. A very, very similar interview that took place the next night on AEW Dynamite. So, Kenny, Tommy, what did you think about Kenny, and also alluding to the fact that there's more stuff to come ahead, more surprises? So, what did you think of the promo on Tuesday in Impact?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I think the biggest takeaway is it's just cool to see Impact get a lot of viewers. I was watching on Twitch, and I think they were up to, at the time, like 55,000 viewers at one point. I mean, that's great. Just for the wrestling business alone, it's good to see other people get that recognition, because we know that Impact does have a good roster. They have a lot of solid workers on their roster, but I sat there and I kind of had the same thought. I was thinking, okay, well, how do I know that this is actually... I know Impact's pre-recorded for the last few weeks. Is there really something to where they're actually there, or is it something where they, did this in just a trailer? But again, like you said, I digress. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to unpack from the fact that there was so much that he said that was regurgitated the next night on Dynamite. A lot of, oh, there's going to be a balance of power that's shifting. You know, he alluded to his trailer kind of being used like the Lex Express back with Lex Luger back in the 90s. He talked about how he has all this free time and he can go and basically do whatever he wants, kind of alluding to the fact that he can go and challenge for any title that he wants. I know that they announced, or not announced, maybe it was announced. I know that there was a report that said that he was going to be on Impact. I know he's going to be on Impact this week. I know that was announced.
Yeah, that came out, yeah.
Yeah, but I know that they announced, or there was a report that he was going to be on more episodes in the future of Impact and even like headline pay-per-views for them. I'd be cool with that. You know, if he's going up against Rich Swann, the Impact champion, or maybe if he fights Moose or something like that, that'd be great. I'd love to see that. But yeah, I don't know where they're going with this. I think it was definitely a kind of a shock value just to say, hey, we have this, relationship with Impact that we can do this. But I think they kind of played the we know we got you, so we're just going to do it again card, to where they just regurgitated almost the exact same promo on Wednesday night on Dynamite. But I mean, I guess it worked because, I mean, it got people talking. I mean, I know people were watching Impact and people were watching Dynamite for what was happening. And, we'll see where it goes in the future. I think that there's a lot of interesting ways that they can take this, but I'm intrigued by it. I'm really intrigued by it.
I was watching on Twitch. Twitch started off hot, and then I guess the fans realized that Kenny Omega was going to be on camera a little later on.
Last. Ugh.
So Impact had their way of dragging it out through the night. I didn't watch as soon as I realized what Impact was doing and how they were going to lay out the show. And plus, I was actually working at the time. But I did watch the first match, Chris Sabin opening match. I believe was against, I think his name is Josh Alexander of the North.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
North. Yeah, that sounds right.
Very good opening match. Yeah, Impact did a good job hooking their fans to a pretty good match. There was some bad acting job behind backstage segments. Just awful, I have to say. I didn't watch any of the matches. I'll probably go back and watch. In fact, I believe Impact has a special tomorrow night on Impact Plus on their app. If you download their app, seems to be a pretty decent card. You may get Kenny Omega there. But
that would be shocking if he showed up. That would be interesting.
I feel like they're hinting to a lot of crossover and a working relationship with Impact. I mean, I've even seen rumors of Tony Khan even buying Impact.
Yeah.
But that's neither here or there at the moment. I take that as a grain of salt.
Yeah, I do got to just throw in there, I love the fact that they ran an ad. I don't know if you caught that, but they bought an ad, AEW did, during Impact. That was perfect. That was just so funny. I don't know if it was just me who thought that was, but as a casual wrestling fan, just seeing him pop up and being like, hey, I'm on Impact here, but I am the owner of AEW, I thought it was great.
Wow. You know what I noticed? So the Kenny Omega segment is the last segment of the night. It comes on about 9:50. Let's just say. I just got home in time from work, and all I noticed was the Twitch viewership starts skyrocketed from 30-something thousand, 20-something thousand, all the way to 52,000 viewers.
Yeah.
They've also did some good numbers on other platforms such as YouTube and what have you. And I saw the breakdown earlier. Moving on
talking
to
about it. That's great. It's great for them.
Yeah, their Impact had a good viewership night for sure. Moving towards Wednesday night, we saw that AEW did about 995,000 viewers, almost pulled a 1.0, and going up against NXT, that did 659,000 viewers.
Yeah. It's time, man. As much as I don't want to admit it, it's just time to move to a different night. I mean, AEW has just done so much good stuff. Even if it's not all like great, not everything hits, but they just have so many constant surprises and interesting matches. It's just I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you agree with me, but I think it's just time for NXT to maybe make a move to Thursday. You know, make that have Monday Night Raw, Thursday on NXT, and then you got Friday with SmackDown.
Yeah, I would definitely have NXT probably make the move to Thursday because it could only help NXT at this point. And the ratings are no indication whether AEW is the better show or NXT is the better show. NXT is a great show. They're the best brand in WWE. NXT has some of the best talent in the world. I mean, listen, WWE overall has the best talent in the world. They just don't know how to use them, especially Mondays and Friday nights.
Exactly.
But Wednesday nights, they do one heck of a job, especially leading into the takeovers. That's where they really, really knock it out of the park. But that would be a win-win for both companies. For NXT to run on Thursday, they'll draw a higher rating, and AEW will draw a higher rating too, as well. At this point, I wonder if AEW could compete against Monday Night Raw on a Monday night.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they could. It just seems like whenever we get the ratings back, and again, like you said, the ratings do not dictate whether or not which show is better or anything like that. We obviously know that NXT is a great show. Their takeovers, especially this past weekend's takeover with War Games, fantastic. One of the best shows I've seen this year. But it's even when they win the ratings war, it's by a very minuscule number. And when you look at AEW and they beat NXT, like you said, what was it, 620 to like 950?
Yeah,
950,
965 to 659 or something.
They blow them out of the water. It's not even a competition. And so it just seems like, and I feel like for me, maybe it's just me, it's only going to keep growing because of AEW having Sting. And even, for the casual fan of just stuff on TNT, Shaq's going to get involved at some point. Obviously, they had him on Dynamite. So that brings in your basketball fans. I just don't really see a way that NXT can consistently win on Wednesday nights in the ratings. And I just think it would be smarter and just more enjoyable for wrestling fans to be able to have something. If you're a connoisseur of all things wrestling, you got a show on Monday, you got Impact on Tuesday, Dynamite on Wednesday, NXT on Thursday, and SmackDown on Friday. I mean, that's a full week for if you're really a full wrestling fan. I mean, that's all you could ask for. You don't have to watch competing shows. So, I don't know. That's my take on it. I just think it would be the smartest move for both companies.
Oh, absolutely, man! What a wrestling world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
AEW making this is the impact that AEW is making on the wrestling business right now. It's becoming
crazy.
More relevant.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the fact that now, even with the announcement that Kenny is going to be on this show on Tuesday, they may not get the same amount of viewers as they got this past week, but I'm sure they'll still get a lot of viewers for Tuesday's show, just because people just want to see what happens. I mean, it's cool to see two companies, work together. Two big companies work together and, have a champion from one show appear on the other show. It's just cool.
Yeah, it's something that hasn't been done. I don't even count the Raw SmackDown brand split stuff.
Yeah.
But it's technically something that hasn't been done since 1992, if I'm not mistaken, when Flair came over to WWF at the time and confronted Hogan with the WCW belt. Actually, I believe that was more like late 91. Late 91, yeah.
Well, it's just like, in a smaller scale, obviously Flair is huge, but when Alundra Blaze took the women's championship on Nitro, dropped the belt in the trash on TV. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge moment in the history of professional wrestling. and it's from another company. Not that Kenny's ever going to do that, because he's just not. But I mean, wouldn't it be so cool if we saw him take the Impact title, or somebody take from Impact beat him for the AEW title? I mean, there's so many possibilities here, and that's what makes it so enjoyable. Is because we honestly, for the first time in what seems like forever, we do not know what's going to happen in wrestling, and it's just enjoyable, man.
Yeah, and you know what? It's we have AEW working with Impact now. We have AEW working with NWA now. It opens up the world of possibilities.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we see Nick Aldis come on over to AEW or Impact, and maybe Impact and NWA do some stuff, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, what a world we're living in 2020. But and not to mention the constant rumor that's constantly talked about with New Japan and AEW working together, and I think a lot of that's kind of put at the moment. Just due to I would say COVID and the travel bans that have been taking place over the past several months. But I'm pretty sure I would not be surprised if AEW and the owners of New Japan Pro Wrestling are talking right now and seeing what kind of deals that they can do as well.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Jon Moxley is still the New Japan United States champion. That doesn't make sense.
I think that's the right way to say it. Something like that.
Oh man,
United of something champion.
I don't know when we'll see him on TV. Maybe he's written off. Maybe he gets a return match in a week or two, or maybe he comes back in a week or two asking for a return match. But I don't expect them doing too many big things over the next couple months. Until,
especially with the
baby.
Yeah, with the baby. I was going to say with the baby coming. And
I tell you, those Shield members have been very busy.
Very much so.
They've been very busy during quarantine. You got Becky Lynch popping out a baby. Seth and Becky Lynch had the baby now, and now Seth and Renee Young and Jon Moxley are expecting. Roman Reigns has got a couple little ones running around. They've been busy guys.
Yes, sir. But just thinking about it, you're talking about Moxley, and I just sit there and think about just AEW's roster and just how well AEW has done in making us care about those guys. I mean, the roster is so stacked full of guys who probably wouldn't cut it in WWE world. But it's just like there's guys that we haven't seen, like Brody Lee, like Jon Moxley for a few weeks, and even Pac. Pac's only been out, I think he came out back for that one match, the Death Triangle match. We haven't seen him in a few weeks. And these are guys that are big stars in AEW, like that we care about. It's just, they just do such a good job of handling their stars. It's so impressive to me, and I wonder, my only thing is that you brought up the New Japan, is if they do a working relationship with New Japan, are some of those guys going to get lost in the shuffle? Is that where we start to see them doing a second show, on TNT, or maybe making Dark more, substantial in some way? So I don't know. When you're talking about Moxley, it made me think about just how well their stars are portrayed on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would include AEW guys fighting in New Japan, New Japan fighting AEW, and I'm thinking more something along the lines of like an invasion angle.
That would be cool. Maybe this time they'd actually handle it right.
Hey, listen. How about an invasion angle with the Bullet Club and Jay White showing up on AEW?
I feel like we're getting some tease towards a Bullet Club with Kenny. He's definitely buying into that cleaner persona here recently, so I'm wondering what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. We saw Kenny come out with the brooms last night at AEW. So let's talk about AEW, why don't we? Last night started off really hot, by the way.
Yeah.
The Angelico and Jack Evans versus the Young Bucks. What a match that we had there. Angelico, what a great showing.
Yeah. They really put it out, for the show. To start off, I mean, it was a great opener. I mean, you can't say much about it.
Angelico looked so strong in defeat. Young Bucks made him look so strong.
Yeah.
spike pile driver on the outside. The Young Bucks put the spike pile driver onto the outside onto Jack Evans, leaving Angelico alone. BTE trigger does it. The Young Bucks get the win. But great tag match, went solid 20 minutes. But Angelico was probably the one that stole the show in this match for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. We've harped enough on the fact that AEW does so well with their tag team division, and this was just another really good example. I mean, we don't see a lot of TH2, but it seems like when they get the chance to shine, they run with the ball. And, I mean, they did it here. You said it best. Angelico looked great. Jack Evans was great. The Young Bucks sold really well for them. I think a lot of the spots flowed really well. It seems like this match just never really stopped going. There was always a spot followed by another spot. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this match to open up Dynamite.
Yeah, and Jack Evans worked very awesome. You know, they looked like believable contenders for the future of maybe into next year. But Angelica looks great. Great opening match. AEW always traditionally wanting to go with that tag match to open up the show, and they always
fails.
know how to open up the show with a good tag match for sure. We had a good showing by the debuting Varsity Blondes against the FTR.
Yeah, I like this team. I can't remember the last time I saw Griff Garrison. I know he was in a match on Dynamite. I'm pretty sure it was a squash match, probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Yep, you're right.
But he looked good. Him and Brian Pillman Jr. really flowed well. I thought they had a good matchup. I mean, it's tough to kind of outshine FTR, but yeah, seeing this match and seeing what took place after with them, they kind of did the revelation. That doesn't sound right. They called it something. They did it with Tully Blanchard. But yeah, I enjoyed it, man. It was a good start. Good to see this new team. I know that they announced a 7-man tag or a 14-man tag for next week.
Isn't half one side of the ring gonna be in a circle?
It's Inner Circle versus Best Friends,
SCU?
Varsity Blondes, and then the 2 other people. I'm not 100% sure who the other 2 are, but I'll look it up while we're talking about this.
As some of you guys may or may know, the Varsity Blondes consist of Brian Pillman Jr., son of the late Brian Pillman from WCW, who later went to WWE before he passed, and then I think he said his name is Garrison. Young guy, good look, but 22 years old, kind of young.
Yeah, it is. Sorry. It's Top Flight, Brandon Cutler, Varsity Blondes, and Trent and Chuck.
All right, so we know Inner Circle's winning that match.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure it's Inner Circle getting that.
Yeah, it is Inner Circle, yeah. But no, definitely. I think the Varsity Blondes look good. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I mean, it's tough to make an impact in a 14-man tag match, but it'll be good for them. They definitely deserve the screen time, and they've done some good work on Dark, and now we get to see them on Dynamite.
FTR with the big win. I mean, you kind of knew that they were going to win there. They hit the Goodnight Express. So good showing for Varsity Blondes. It's going to be interesting to see them grow. Listen, AEW's got some work to do as far as making stars, so hopefully they just don't ride the Sting the whole way and expect to draw. They really need to be making stars in the meantime. But get into Sting. I skipped over just a little bit, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. How awesome is it to see Sting on TNT and in the ring again with Tony Schiavone? First time on TNT since 2001.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels a little nostalgic to me.
And for you, I think that's what not only makes our show great is the fact that there's such an age difference between us, but it's just also there's a wrestling difference between us. I mean, I was only 3 years old, when 2001 happened, so I didn't get to experience that. I saw that in passing, as the time went on, as I became a fan, and it's still just so cool to see Sting, have that moment with Tony Schiavone. You saw him do the, "Give me one more, hey, it's Sting," It's just awesome, man. It's so cool. It looks like he's having a lot of fun. And I'm intrigued by what they're doing with his character. I really am.
Yeah, so speaking of which, that's exactly my next question to you, actually. What do you think is Sting's agenda in AEW? Do you think he's going to be like a law enforcer, a commissioner? Do we get some matches out of him? Is he going to be a mentor to, say, Darby Allin? What do you think? Where does AEW go from here? And they make it sound like he's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, and I think, and they keep harping on that, and that's the big thing. Is it's not just like that was the first time he said I'm going to be here for a long time. In the reports that have come out, in the announcement when they first said he signed to All Elite Wrestling, he's signed to a multi-year deal, and he's going to be a full-time multi-year deal to where he's going to show up a lot. There's so much you can do here. I mean, the fact that he alluded to a future match involvement with Cody, I think is awesome. I don't really know what he's going to do with Darby. I'm sensing a tag team match where Darby kind of takes the brunt of the work and Sting comes in and does your big pop moves, your Stinger Splash and the Scorpion Deathlock. Still, man, it's just cool to see Sting in a ring. It's just so cool knowing what happened in WWE for him, knowing that he didn't really get exactly what he was looking for. It's just cool. Yeah, I really do. But to answer your question, I think we're going to see him wrestle. I really do. As much as I'm not 100% sure about that. The fact that if he should be wrestling, I think it is. I think he knows his limitations in the ring, and I think they're going to put him with people that they know can protect him. We're going to see some stinger in the ring, and I'm all here for it.
Absolutely, it's going to be interesting. Man, 2020, what a world of wrestling that we're in.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Unbelievable. Well, Inner Circle seemingly patching stuff up, patching their differences. We see Sammy Guevara shake hands with MJF, but points out that one more incident and he's out. But it seems like we're going to get a cohesive group for now. It seems like this is going to be a long burn of a storyline. It's leaning more towards that. I still think we're going to get a power struggle between MJF and Jericho later on. But
it seems like they were hinting at that too.
So do you think that's where we're heading with Inner Circle?
Yeah. It just seems like they're hinting at that. Even in the promo, we saw MJF trying to speak out and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat Orange Cassidy," and Jericho's like, "Hey, now's not the time." He
was kind of undermining Jericho just a little bit.
Exactly. So I think you're right on that fact. Is that we're gonna see a little bit of a power struggle. I still think that Jericho's gonna be the odd man out. I think everybody's gonna turn on Jericho, which would be cool. I like the interaction between Wardlow and Jake Hager. I thought that was kind of funny, just because we never really hear Wardlow speak. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I thought it was cool. I'm intrigued. I've said that a lot this show, but there's just so many good things going on in AEW that just make me intrigued for the future.
Yeah, so that's a developing storyline that we're gonna have to keep up with for sure. That's gonna be another slow burn. But yeah, so Inner Circle basically patching things up, and I'd like to see them do some more stuff and more skits with Jericho, MJF, and the rest of the Inner Circle, stuff like traveling to Las Vegas and doing all that stuff, kind of build the camaraderie on TV for the next couple months until they decide to go to their next destination of the angle, which I believe is going to be a power struggle of some sorts. But getting back to Kenny Omega, we see Kenny Omega in the ring last night with Don Callis, and we pointed out earlier in the beginning of the show a very, very similar promo that he did on um, Tuesday night, the night before. Um, Basically hinting that there's going to be more surprises.
Yeah.
So I would expect, and we already talked a little bit about it, but I would expect Kenny Omega, his segments to draw some more fan intrigue, and more people are going to be tuning in week by week to see what he's talking about.
Yeah. And again, there's just that's the thing is fan intrigue. You have people's attention. Now can you not mess it up? There's got to be a payoff to this. There's got to be something that goes on with this storyline that says, okay, it really is big news that Impact and AEW are working together. So I'm interested in seeing what that payoff is. I'm sure we won't see it for a while, but hey, if you got my attention, I'm all for it.
And you know what? We may get some Bullet Club, former Bullet Club members like the Good Brothers from Impact,
Yeah.
who are currently the tag team champions, to maybe partner up with Kenny Omega, have like a Bullet Club reunion of some sorts.
Yeah.
Because God knows everybody else is tied under contract.
Yeah. Seems like it, man.
Can't have too much of a Bullet Club reunion. You got AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Adam Cole, all in the WWE roster. You got guys tied in New Japan. So everybody's kind of all spread out. Should be very interesting. So basically, AEW's done a pretty good job with implementing that hook in their storylines for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, we covered Inner Circle, Kenny Omega. But moving on to the main event, we have MJF. Actually, we'll talk about the woman really quick. We had Abaddon.
Abaddon, yeah.
Abaddon.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when you look at her, make sure you look at her in an empty stomach before you watch. Oh, gross. But you know what? That's the beauty of her character.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of that's the whole point of her character. You're supposed to be turned off by her. And that shot to the head with Sheet on the kendo stick.
I know. Yes, exactly.
What a no-sell.
I wonder if she is
She
going
rose
to
up like
be.
the Undertaker.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I wonder if she's going to be that person who finally takes the title off of Sheeta. They build her up as that monster. I don't know if it's the right choice, but I mean, somebody's got to do it, and it's just there really doesn't seem like there's anybody on the roster right now.
I mean, yeah, no, you're right.
The only reason I say
it could be somebody that's not on the roster.
That's true. That's very true. The only reason I say that is because of that interaction. Because Sheeta got involved. There's got to be something with that. They wouldn't just do that just for, shits and giggles. They have it for a reason. So I'm intrigued by what they're doing with that. But yeah, Abaddon's look is interesting to say the least. You're right. I mean, it's
very unique.
That's the best word that
you can't watch it on the full stomach.
Exactly.
Hangman Page, it looks like they're cooling down with the Hangman Kenny Omega storyline for a while. You know that they're probably going to revisit later on, maybe a couple months from now. I think this is more of a story to be told there for sure.
Yeah.
But he's going to be teaming with Dark Order next week.
Yes. I just love John
Not joining,
Silver.
but he's gonna be
Yeah.
Silver and Reynolds.
Yeah. If again, I've harped it a few times on this show. If you have not seen Being the Elite, the YouTube series on YouTube, the YouTube series on YouTube, it's been a long week. You should definitely check it out because it is so funny. John Silver is absolutely hilarious. He's the BTE champion. He's got a belt and everything. Oh, it's great. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I'm excited. I love the Dark Order. I think we even saw the Dark Order try and recruit Dustin Rhodes. And I don't know if you caught this, but they called him Seven, which was the failed WCW gimmick that he had back in the 90s. So it'll be interesting to see if he joins.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think it was Man, I don't even remember who Dustin fought.
Because Dustin Rhodes had a couple gimmicks in WCW, a couple
Yeah,
failed gimmicks. I
yeah,
mean, one, he was originally the natural Dustin Rhodes before he came over to WWE as Goldust in '95.
yeah.
Then he goes back to WCW. I would say, oh man, maybe after his '98 run, '98 '99 run,
Yeah,
I
that
think he
sounds
went
right.
back then. And he did a character called Black Rain. So yeah,
I'll have
Dustin
to send
Rhodes.
you a picture of this, or you can look it up. It's an interesting gimmick. It's a very failed gimmick.
Wow.
99 was when he debuted as 7. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he had a couple quick stints in WCW,
Yeah.
but yeah, his 98 99 part of his Goldust run in WWF was totally exotic, off the wall.
Yes. Very much so. From what I've seen, at least. Obviously, you would have more, you know, knowledge on that. But from what I've seen, he's done some.
He's
I
done
know he
some
did
pretty exotic
the
stuff.
artist formerly known as Goldust.
Yes.
Stealing off of Prince and everything.
Yeah.
Coming out with like the gag thing on his mouth. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Oh
The Attitude
man.
Era was a weird time.
Absolutely. That was probably one of Goldust's weirdest times in wrestling for sure. But yeah, so the main event we see MJF versus Orange Cassidy. MJF is supported to the ring by the Inner Circle. We see Inner Circle helping out MJF. Everything seems good in the hood. Arch. A correction from last week. First of all, I called MJF the Miz a couple times, like not once, not twice, but like 3 times. Because if you're looking at them, they look
They
exactly.
do
Well,
look the
they look
same.
very similar. Same physique, same persona.
Kind of wear the
Um,
same outfit. They got the scarves and everything.
yeah. So my bad on that one.
We need a match between them in the
Oh my
future.
gosh, won't even be able to tell who's who. But we got MJF versus Orange Cassidy. So MJF is defending the ring. Okay, so I thought it was for a new ring, but apparently he's defending the ring.
Yeah.
That's what he said on AEW Dynamite. So moving on, we see a pretty good match. Orange Cassidy, I felt works pretty good with MJF. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, I mean, try to keep my Orange Cassidy bias out of it because I love Orange Cassidy.
I know you do.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was good. I liked the interaction between the Inner Circle and Orange Cassidy's guys, best friends. I thought the ending was interesting. I think that's kind of the whole talking point that we take away from it. MJF got the win here thanks to some help from Miro. Miro comes out and, I mean, absolutely wrecks everybody. I mean, he destroyed, those security guards or whatever they were. It's interesting. I'm wondering if they're finally starting to build Miro as kind of, instead of being like Kip Sabian's best man and the gamer guy who wears Gucci stuff, now he's going to come out and actually be that monster that he was in WWE, and I'm all here for it.
That'd be good. They gotta keep it consistent though.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see Miro clothesline Orange Cassidy in the ring behind the rest back, allowing MJF to win. Very, very chaotic segment. We see Inner Circle fighting with best friends, and there's weapons involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, MJF retains his AEW Dynamite ring, so he's going to be parading that around next week, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a little bit more dissension because of that in the Inner Circle. I think we might see some more of the, kind of what we alluded to with the fact that he was kind of undermining Jericho. I think we might see a little bit more of that here with him actively gloating that he is, I mean, when you think about it, really the only one who's won anything significant in the Inner Circle in any recent time.
Yeah, I It's been a little bit of while. It's been since Jericho's had a belt,
Yeah,
since anybody had any title in that group for sure. Which I think the tide will turn a little bit going into the new year,
yeah.
for sure, and thereafter. Um, but yeah, so that pretty much wraps up the AEW Dynamite review. Pretty good show. Um, they definitely have us wanting more for next week, which is really good. Um, you got the Kenny Omega situation to look out for. What's going to happen with Inner Circle next? Uh, and they have us wondering what's going to happen with Sting. They've been kind of vague on that so far. So a couple storylines going into the new year, and then the interest to see what AEW is going to be doing with Impact. So there's a couple things going on to keep a lookout for.
Yeah, and they got that. I know they announced the New Year's Smash. I think is what it's called. That it's a 2-night event. I think it's. I want to say the 30th and the 6th, if I'm right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a 2-night like kind of like Fight for the Fallen type event on Dynamite. So I'm interested. I've really enjoyed. I think it was Fight for the Fallen back in May or June. I really enjoyed that show. It was 2 weeks on Dynamite, and it was really good. There was a lot of good matches. So I'm intrigued to see, what they do with that. If we see a Kenny Omega match, maybe he fights somebody from Impact on that show, or maybe we get a Sting match, Sting tag team match with Darby Allin against Team Taz. I mean, I'd love that.
It's very possible, and not to
That'd be
mention
a
with
good
Team
sell.
Taz, we saw Lance Archer come out and lay those almost laid all those guys out, Butcher and the Blade and what have you. Lance Archer's seemingly at least at the very definitely a tweener acting like a face.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there with him for sure. But that's new news to me. I may have fast forwarded past that part as I didn't catch that. I usually fast forward to the commercial. Sometimes I go a little too far.
Yeah.
But that's going to be pretty interesting. And it's interesting you brought that up because NXT is also doing something called New Year's Evil.
Evil, yeah. Is that a 2-night event or is it just a 1-night event?
It's a 1-night event, and I could have sworn if I saw it correctly, January 6th.
Yes, so that would be the second night, of the AEW one.
Yeah, and I thought that was a pay-per-view too. I think I got the date right. I'm pretty sure I got the date right.
Yeah, I'm checking it right now. Yeah, it's the 6th on USA.
Okay, so I was under the impression at first that it was going to be like another takeover, but so they're going to be building up to that.
Yeah.
Which leads me to we got the return of Karrion Kross on NXT.
Yes.
So we saw the vignette, and that was probably one of the only things to talk about from NXT Takeover, because as good as the pay per view was, nothing big happened. Other than that announcement, that vignette. Obviously, we knew with the birds and the dark scenery and the clock that it was Karrion Kross.
I mean, the only other thing that I can think of from the pay per view is we got a new North American champion, and we saw
Johnny Gargano.
We saw the reveal of Ghostface.
Yeah, Austin Theory.
So, yeah, I mean that's big, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I think everybody who you thought would win over, but it was a really good pay per view. It was really enjoyable. I gotta give another quick shout out because I just got to Pat McAfee. He looked great. I mean, the dude just gets it. He just gets the wrestling business. And it's great to see somebody who is actively passionate about what he's doing in the ring. I mean, he's selling his injuries on his show. He's got a neck brace on. It's just cool, man. It's real, and it's cool that he's enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying it watching.
Yeah. I don't believe we saw him on Wednesday. I could be wrong. I don't think we saw him on Wednesday. But did kind of see what appears to be the NXT title picture shaping up a little bit, as we see Finn Balor interrupted by Pete Dunne. Then following that, I believe he was interrupted by Damian Priest. And there was one or two other
Kyle
interruptions.
O'Reilly was in there.
Kyle O'Reilly, which is awesome. He's
I
getting
love.
that main event rub now.
Yes.
Um,
Give me another Kyle O'Reilly Finn Balor match.
Yeah, and then we see Karrion Kross's valet, Scarlett Bordeaux,
Yeah.
Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast favorite. See Scarlett Bordeaux, basically with her body language hinting that Karrion Kross is near. Later on, we see Damian Priest come out in another segment, interrupting Johnny Gargano's segments, in which Karrion Kross jumps Damian Priest from behind and gives him a nice powerbomb. I guess that arm and shoulder is doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So it looks like that the main event title scene is starting to take a new shape. Where's Thick Boy been? What's his name?
Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a little while.
I wonder, man. I heard. I got to get your opinion on it, just because I've been thinking about it, and I wanted, before we get into, I'm sure we're going to talk about, we're talking about the NXT title picture. Speaking of NXT and kind of tying this into former NXT title holders, did you see the report about Vince McMahon like throwing a fit over the fact that Keith Lee like wasn't good in the ring, and that he sent him and I want to say Keith Lee, Otis, and a few other guys back to the Performance Center?
This is brand new.
Yeah.
This is brand new information that was just posted online. I did not open it. I saw something like that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, like, come on. Like, as much as I love the WWE and I love Vince McMahon, like, I think it's time for him to give it up, man. Like, I just don't think he gets it anymore. I mean, Keith Lee is just so good. I mean, he's just so good. It's you mentioned it earlier. It's just they don't know how to handle their stars.
No, you're right.
I just want to get your opinion on it because I was thinking about it.
Triple H. Listen, the problem is that Vince McMahon has a different vision on his main roster than what Shawn Michaels and Triple H have on NXT. NXT is clearly the run show. I don't care if your opinion is that they should be on WWE Network or USA. That's minimum. A lot of people didn't like that switch over. But NXT is still their best brand, ran by Triple H, and you can see the difference of how things change when they go up to the main roster, like a Raw, SmackDown. You can see that they're used differently, more oftentimes buried on the main roster. NXT works a different style than WWE. NXT works a different style that's more appealing to the marks, the 1849 demographic. And Vince McMahon's vision is a lot different in the main roster, and something is not jiving there for sure.
Yeah.
I know Vince was high on Keith Lee at some point. So what the plans are for him going forward, that remains to be seen. Vince needs to go. He doesn't look that good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's time to hand the reins over. Hand the Roman reins over.
A lot of people, supposedly, again, I don't know how true or valid the source is. I'm not happy with Bruce Pritchard running things backstage.
Yeah. But from what I've heard on his podcast, he does not care. He constantly talks about the fact that he just does not care what other outside people think. Which I think is the right attitude to have, but also you need to be looking at the fact that if it's not working, man, you gotta change something. If you've had this level of middling success to where you're the WWE and you're always gonna be up there, but you're kind of just spinning your wheels, something's got to change at some point.
Yeah.
Because AEW's catching up, man. You're right. I mean, AEW could almost contend with Raw. I'm almost intrigued to see if they will do that at some point and make Wednesday night this, have Dynamite move to Monday night and have Wednesday night be whatever this new show is.
Yeah, there's been rumors of a new AEW show, supposedly, which is only going to be 1 hour of a show, but AEW still has yet to beat any one of Raw or SmackDown's ratings.
Yeah.
Maybe they've won in certain demographics, but overall ratings, AEW has not beaten a Raw or SmackDown rating yet. Of course, they're beating NXT head to head. So I'm curious to see what NXT rating. I'm curious to see what AEW's rating would be on a consistent basis when NXT goes to a different night, which I think they should. It'll benefit them both. I mean, if I'm AEW, I would for now probably stay in your own lane and keep building on what you're doing. But in the end, regardless of what night you're on, regardless of who you're running against, the numbers speak for itself for sure.
Yeah.
So. Tommy, anything else that we need to cover before we go off the air?
I wanted to get back. I know we kind of went on a tangent right there, talking about some different stuff. But yeah, that NXT title picture. Speaking of New Year's Evil, I'm interested. I wonder if they're going to do a big match, with maybe do like a 6-pack challenge. I don't know if we'll see, those guys. Because in that point, when you're going up against a 2-night show, what AEW's doing, you got to have something. I mean, you got to have something that's going to get people to watch your show. So I imagine there'll be a big match. Maybe we get, if they just want to play it safe, we could get another really good match out of Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I think there's a lot of good players in that NXT title picture. And Karrion Kross being back just makes it that much better. He definitely kind of got robbed of his title shot, not title shot, his title run.
Yeah.
So,
I thought they did such a good job building up Karrion Kross last year.
Yeah.
And for that to be taken away by injury,
it's tough.
A little disheartening for me. I kind of liked Karrion Kross.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. I kind of want to see, a match that they could do if they want to hold off on Karrion Kross challenging at this at this special event or at the next takeover. I'd love to see Karrion Kross versus Dexter Lumis. I think that would just be not even the fact that it's a good wrestling match, because I'm sure it would be, but not to the level of, you're not talking Eddie versus Brock here or something like that. But I just think the character work between those two. I mean, they just both play these completely out there characters. So I would really enjoy that. I really enjoyed Lumis's match against Cameron Grimes, the strap match at TakeOver this past weekend. So yeah, I think that could be a really good kind of buffer feud, I guess, to get Kross back in before he gets to, challenge Finn Balor. Because we know that match is coming at some point. Him versus Finn Balor. And it's going to be a great one. But I don't know if you should jump in right from the get-go to that match.
No, I think you kind of rebuild up Karrion Kross because, maybe not. But there's a possibility he's lost a little steam.
Yeah.
I think you just got to rebuild them up the same way you were building them and get them ready for a title win maybe around the summertime.
Yeah.
I think would be WrestleMania time might be a little too close. I don't even know what the deal is with WrestleMania at this point.
I don't think they do either.
I'm honestly not even planning for it.
Yeah.
But
it could be in Hollywood. It can be at the Performance
definitely
Center.
not.
It could be in Tampa. Who knows, man?
It's definitely not Hollywood. It's pretty much going to be in Tampa, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. But as far as crowds, what to say?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure, just from the fact of what the NFL is doing, and I know even with what college football is doing with the bowl games and stuff, I'm sure there will be some fans in the stands, but it still isn't going to fully feel like WrestleMania, which stinks because obviously this is these wrestlers' Super Bowl. This is their one night where all the eyes are on them in the wrestling. I mean, even if you aren't a huge wrestling fan like we are, if you're everybody's watching WrestleMania. If you're a even a little bit of a wrestling fan, so who knows? But I'm sure it'll be a great show. But it's shaping up to be a very interesting one. I think that's the least I can say on it.
Yeah. So NXT Title Picture is shaping up. It's looking a little fresh with some new guys in there. Kyle O'Reilly, Damian Priest. So it looks like Damian Priest is gonna move on from the North American Title Picture for now. So that's good. I'm excited for Kyle O'Reilly. I know he's done a lot of work, singles in ROH, which I never really got to watch. So this is all kind of new to me. But for the ROH fan, not so much. And Kyle O'Reilly was a former Ring of Honor champion. But again, I didn't watch any of the ROH at that point. So again, this is all fresh to me with Kyle O'Reilly. So I'm interested to see what he can do. So it's going to be an interesting couple months to see. And do we get the Demon back? Do we get the Demon for a match? Nobody's beating the Demon. That would be an interesting.
I know. He's got to come back at some point.
Yeah, I don't know when you bring him back. Maybe you have him go against Karrion Kross, and maybe Karrion Kross beat the Demon for the first guy. If you really, really want to get somebody over.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be really good.
But that pretty much wraps up our show. We've covered pretty much mostly everything, the most important stuff that's going on with NXT. We've covered the more important stuff that's been going on at AEW this week. But for those of you guys that are watching Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast, subscribe now on YouTube. Those of you that are watching and about to watch, share this with your friends. Have them subscribe. Help us out. Subscribe now on YouTube. We are growing. We are over 500 subscribers to our Twitter page. You can get all our news, announcements, our thoughts about events as they're going live. And we're also available on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, and more. You could also find some of Tommy's work on backsportspage.com. Check out his wrestling articles. I think you just wrote a piece of from Brutus the Barber Beefcake, if I'm not mistaken,
I did, yeah,
on the WrestleZone, which is also called mandatory.com.
Yeah.
But WrestleZone. WrestleZone is I've been following WrestleZone for about well over 5 years. That's where I discovered Wrestle Reaction, which Frank Manzo and JT Kenny and not Kenny Joe Omega were basically the originators of what we do now. They were the originators going back 6, 7, 8 years ago of Wrestle Reaction, doing the reaction shows immediately after Raws and pay-per-views and what have you. And I believe we are getting Frank on this show soon as a special guest, which would be huge. He's the OG. He's the OG of all wrestling live podcasts. Plain and simple. So I'm excited for that. So we're gonna get him on soon. I'm hoping for episode 50, but we shall see. And they're linked up with John Alba and Doug McDonald from the Living the Gimmick podcast, which is awesome. So Tommy, you're in good company on that website, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. I got another article. Thank you. I appreciate that. I got another one going up tomorrow about Greg the Hammer Valentine. So I'm excited, man.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But be sure to post that on the podcast page too.
For sure, yeah, for sure. The
readers would definitely love to see that. So get you some more hits.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it, man.
We'll go get that on the Twitter page too. So you guys got to check that out.
Definitely.
But guys, for those of you that have watched or about to watch or listening, thank you so much for your support. Well, listen, we're 3 weeks away from the New Year. Can you believe it? Christmas is about another
2 weeks,
we're just
man. 2 weeks
inside
from
2
today.
weeks.
Yeah.
We're well over the 6 month mark with our podcast. We started in April, so that May, June, July, August, September, October, November. We're 8 months in. We're 8 months. 4 more months will be our 1 year anniversary. Hopefully, we'll pull something off for that too, as well, as far as the guest goes. Yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. And episode 50 is just a couple weeks away.
Crazy how it falls right during Christmas week too. Might have to do something might have to do a special watch along or something for it. Maybe give a little hint right there. Wink wink.
Well, guys, Tommy, thank you so much for hopping on again, as always.
Sure, man.
Man, we have an exciting time of wrestling.
Yeah.
Going forward, the wrestling business is heating up. We're getting into WrestleMania season now, the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
So
favorite
we're
time.
getting into our favorite time of the year. And, AEW is going to have their specials the beginning of the new year, and then a month after that, Revolution. There's some good stuff happening over the next couple months.
I said it last
and
week,
this
and
has been
I'll
a pretty
say it again.
good fall season. I'm not gonna lie.
It's just good to be a wrestling fan, man. It's just good to be a wrestling fan.
Absolutely. Well, that basically is a wrap, guys. If those of you that watch and listen, thank you so much once again. And once again, don't forget to help us out, share our show, and we will be back with you next week. Catch you guys later.
Woo!
Oh, we're still on.